This aircraft has never been shot down in combat. It has never been detected on enemy radar in an operational mission. Every Air Force that has trained against it in exercises, including America's own allies, has described the experience the same way. You never see it coming. You never get a shot. You just die. The United States has sold Israel some of its most advanced weapons in history. The F-15, the F-16, the F-35, so heavily modified for Israel that it got its own designation, the F-35I Adir. But not this one. Israel wanted it. Japan formally requested it. Australia budgeted for it. The answer from Washington was the same every time. No. And it's not a matter of price. In fact, in 2020, when the US government briefly floated the idea of selling the F-22 to Israel, the estimate to simply restart the factory came back at $50 billion. Not to build the jets, just to turn the lights on. This is the story of the most advanced fighter jet ever built, the single sentence of law that locked it away from the world forever, and the industrial graveyard in the California desert where its factory, dismantled piece by piece, still sits in shipping containers, waiting. Before we talk about why no one can have the F-22, we need to understand what it actually is, because there is a persistent misconception worth clearing up immediately. The F-35 is not the best fighter jet in the world. The F-35 was never supposed to be. It is a multi-role strike fighter, designed to bomb ground targets, gather intelligence, and hold its own in a dogfight. It is extraordinary at what it does, but it does many things. The F-22 does one thing. It kills other aircraft. Every design decision, every engineering trade-off, every dollar spent was in service of a single mission: air dominance. Not air superiority, dominance. The difference is that air superiority means you win most of the fights. Air dominance means the enemy stops sending planes. Start with supercruise. Most fighter jets need afterburners to break the sound barrier, essentially dumping raw fuel into the exhaust to generate extra thrust. Afterburners are loud, they burn fuel at a catastrophic rate, and they generate an enormous heat signature that infrared missiles love. The F-22 can sustain Mach 1.5, nearly 1,000 miles per hour without afterburners, in full stealth, without announcing itself to every heat-seeking missile in the region. And then there is thrust vectoring. The F-22's exhaust nozzles physically tilt up to 20 degrees in the vertical plane. This means the engine itself becomes a steering mechanism. At low speeds, where conventional control surfaces lose effectiveness, the F-22 can point its nose in directions that should be aerodynamically impossible. Pilots who have faced it in training exercises describe watching an F-22 seemingly stop in midair, pivot, and achieve weapons lock before the laws of physics have caught up with what just happened. And then there is real stealth, not the marketing version. The F-35's radar cross-section, the effective size it appears on enemy radar, is approximately that of a golf ball. That is already extraordinary. A 50-foot aircraft appearing as a golf ball on radar is a genuine engineering miracle. The F-22's radar cross-section is the size of a steel marble. We are talking about an aircraft with a wingspan of 44 feet, registering as an object roughly 1 centimeter across on enemy radar systems. At that point, stealth is not a feature, it is near invisibility. And this is the moment, sometime in the late 1990s, as the F-22 moved from prototype toward production, the Pentagon had a conversation that changed everything. The question on the table was simple: should we sell this to our allies? The answer, when the full implications were laid out, was something closer to, we don't think we should let this leave the building. Because the fear wasn't that an ally would misuse the F-22. The fear was what happens if an ally buys it and then the wrong people get access to it. If Russian intelligence or Chinese engineers were ever able to study a production F-22, its radar-absorbent materials, its exhaust baffling systems, its avionics architecture, American air dominance, which had been essentially unchallenged since 1991, would be over. The F-22 wasn't too good to export because of arrogance. It was too good to export because the gap it represented was the entire foundation of American military strategy. And gaps, once closed, do not reopen cheaply.
By the late 1990s, Japan had already begun formal conversations with the US State Department about purchasing the F-22. Israel was watching the program closely. Australia had defense analysts running the numbers. The appetite was real, and the buyers had money. All it would have taken was a presidential decision and a standard foreign military sales agreement, the same process that had moved F-15s to Saudi Arabia and F-16s to Pakistan. And then a congressman from Wisconsin named Dave Obey added a rider to the 1998 Department of Defense Appropriations Act. Not a bill, not a major piece of legislation, a rider, a single provision attached to a spending bill, like a footnote. It read, in effect, "No funds made available under this act may be used to approve or license the sale of the F-22 Advanced Tactical Fighter to any foreign government." 11 words that mattered. The sale of the F-22 to any foreign government. Not enemies, not adversaries, any foreign government. America's closest treaty allies, nations it had mutual defense agreements with, nations whose pilots trained alongside American pilots every year, were included in any foreign government. The Obey Amendment made no exceptions. It drew no distinctions based on alliance status, intelligence sharing agreements, or decades of military partnership. The Raptor was locked in a cage, by law, by a single paragraph that most people have never heard of. Now, it's important to understand what motivated this. It wasn't purely protectionism, though that was part of it. The deeper concern, shared by defense analysts on both sides of the aisle, was what might be called the acquisition chain problem. When the US sells a weapons system to an ally, that ally procures spare parts, maintenance contracts, and upgrades from a network of vendors. That network, over time, becomes a potential intelligence surface. The more countries that operate an F-22, the more potential points of exposure for its most classified technologies. The amendment passed, was renewed, was reattached to subsequent appropriations bills, and became effectively permanent policy. For over 2 decades, that single legislative paragraph held, until 2020, when a crisis in the Middle East pushed the question back to the surface, and the answer that came back was more staggering than anyone had anticipated. To understand the $50 billion number, you need to understand what Lockheed Martin did in 2011. The F-22 program was originally planned to produce 750 aircraft. Then, budget pressures reduced it to 648, then 438. Then, under Secretary of Defense Robert Gates, the final number was locked at 187 production aircraft, a fraction of what the Air Force said it needed to maintain meaningful air dominance. In 2011, the last F-22 rolled off the line at Lockheed Martin's facility in Marietta, Georgia. And then Lockheed did something that had almost no precedent in modern aerospace manufacturing. They dismantled the factory. Not closed it, not mothballed it, dismantled it. The specialized tooling jigs, the enormous precision fixtures that hold an airframe in exact alignment while it's being assembled, some of them the size of a city bus, were unbolted from the factory floor. The robotic systems were decommissioned. The supply chain contracts with over 1,000 individual vendors were terminated. The tooling was loaded into shipping containers and transported to the Sierra Army Depot in Herlong, California, a military storage facility in the high desert, roughly 100 miles north of Reno, Nevada. It sits there today, in containers, in the desert. Now, 2020. The United States announces it will sell advanced F-35s to the United Arab Emirates. Israel's government reacts with alarm. The UAE operating F-35s represents a potential threat to Israel's qualitative military edge, the legally guaranteed technological advantage Israel holds over its neighbors. To reassure Israel, rumors begin circulating, then headlines, then semi-official statements that the U.S. is considering selling Israel the F-22. Israeli defense officials react with cautious excitement. For a brief moment, it seems like the Obi Amendment might finally be circumvented for America's closest ally. Then the estimate arrived. To restart F-22 production for Israel, Lockheed Martin would first need to locate and retrieve the tooling from Sierra Army Depot. Some of it had been in containers for nearly a decade. Seals would need to be checked, precision equipment recalibrated, components inspected for storage degradation. Then they would need to rebuild the supply chain. Of the 1,000-plus vendors that supplied components for the F-22, a significant number had gone out of business, pivoted to other industries, or lost the specialized workforce that made F-22 parts. Requalifying vendors, the process of certifying that a supplier can meet military aerospace tolerances, takes years per vendor.
Then they would need to reconstitute the workforce. The engineers, machinists, and quality control specialists who built the last F-22 in 2011 had dispersed. Many had retired. The institutional knowledge, the kind that exists in people's hands and heads, not just in manuals, was gone. Then they would need to re-establish the classified technology environment, the secure facilities, cleared personnel, and compartmentalized programs that govern an aircraft with as many black budget systems as the F-22. The total estimated cost to simply restart the production line before a single new airframe was cut was reported at $50 billion. For context, the entire original F-22 program, from development through all 187 aircraft, cost approximately $67 billion. Restarting the factory would cost nearly as much as the entire original program. Israel did not get the F-22. Being permanently denied the apex predator of air combat forced Israel into something it is historically very good at: creative problem-solving under constraint. The first move was to extract maximum value from what they could have. Israel negotiated something no other F-35 customer has been granted: access to portions of the F-35 software architecture, the ability to modify the jet systems, to integrate Israeli-developed weapons, Israeli electronic warfare suites, Israeli sensors in ways that no other operator is permitted. The result is the F-35I Adir, a variant so customized that it is operationally distinct from every other F-35 in the world. The second move addresses the F-22's fundamental advantage that the F-35 can't replicate: internal weapons capacity. The F-25 carries its weapons internally to maintain its stealth profile, but that limits how many missiles it can carry. The F-22 was designed to carry a full air-to-air loadout internally. Without it, Israel needed an alternative. Their answer? The F-15IA, a radically upgraded F-15 that can carry up to 22 air-to-air missiles in a single configuration. The concept is what analysts have started calling the quarterback and artillery doctrine. The F-35I goes deep, invisible, using its stealth to penetrate enemy air defenses, gathering targeting data and suppressing radar systems. Then it hands targeting information to the F-15IA flying behind the battle, outside enemy radar range, which fires volleys of long-range missiles at targets it cannot even see directly. The F-35I is the quarterback. The F-15IA is the artillery. This tactic, which is genuinely innovative and is being studied by NATO air forces, exists because Israel was denied the F-22. If they had been sold the Raptor, they would have followed the American playbook. The denial forced them to write their own. Constraints, as it turns out, are sometimes the best engineers. The F-22 Raptor is the loneliest aircraft in the world. 187 of them exist, all of them American, all of them aging. The oldest are now over 20 years old, and the Air Force is already discussing a retirement timeline.
The technology that made it untouchable in 1997 is still formidable in 2024, but the gap is narrowing. China's J-20, Russia's Su-57. These are not the F-22's equals, but they are no longer decades behind. And the factory that could build more of them sits in a desert depot in northern Nevada, in shipping containers, waiting. The Obi Amendment still stands. No foreign government has ever been sold an F-22. The jet that was too good to export is now possibly too expensive to replace, too politically complex to restart, and too far into its life cycle to dominate another generation. It is the victim of its own perfection. It was so good that America locked it away. And in locking it away, America may have also locked itself out of the full air dominance that the program was built to deliver. A king with no kingdom, a weapon with no war worthy of it. Here's the question I'll leave you with. In 2011, the decision was made to shut down the F-22 line at 187 aircraft, a quarter of what the Air Force requested. Given what we now know about Chinese and Russian fifth-generation programs, was that the single biggest strategic mistake in modern U.S. military history? And do you think the export ban was the right call? Or did America's obsession with protecting the F-22 end up costing more than it saved? Tell me what you think in the comments. If you want to see more stories about the engineering decisions and political battles behind the weapons that define our world, the next one is already waiting for you.